I was out of alignment with my business, completely out of alignment. So for me, I'm saying, don't work early mornings, late nights, and weekends. What was your girl doing? Working early mornings, late nights, and weekends. Like, I've been on this, like, where even some of my clients, they'll see emails come to me and they're like, wait a minute, what are you doing working? Where's your boundary?
Welcome to CEO Conversations, the private practice podcast. I'm your host, Brandy Mabra. This is your one-stop shop to learn the business side of your practice on a deeper level. On this show, we empower you to own your CEO status to scale your practice for growth, sustainability, and profit. Listen in as we talk about how to market your practice to gain more visibility, hire, build, and engage your ride or die dream team, create streamlined operations, and make financial decisions as a CEO. It's time to show up as a confident leader to create a practice and life you love. Let's get started.
Hello. Welcome to another episode of CEO Conversations, the private practice podcast. It's Brandy Mabra here, and today we're talking all about how to fall back in love with your business if it feels out of alignment. So when I'm thinking about this topic, and the reason why I even came for us to even talk about is way back in the day, when I was working the early mornings, the late nights, and the weekends, I was completely out of alignment, completely wholeheartedly out of alignment. And I remember one of my mentors told me, Brandy, you're going to burn out. Like, if you keep burning like the midnight oil, you are going to burn out. And I was like, no, I love what I do. I'm so passionate. It'll be fine. And she was totally right. And it was one of the wake up signs that I needed in order to know something has to change. Something has got to change. And I was just tired. I was exhausted. I was starting to definitely resent what was happening inside of the practice at that point in time. I was resenting my team. If anybody came and asked me a question, I wanted to just breathe fire down on them. I mean, it was awful. And so it was because I was completely out of alignment and completely out of sync with what I wanted, what I thought my career was going to look like. And it looked completely different. And so when we're thinking about this, how it can relate to entrepreneurship, it's very much similar. It's one of the reasons why I say stop working the early mornings, the late nights, and the weekends, because that is the number one sign where you're on a path of just resentment, right? If you are waking up early in the morning and to work, and then you're skipping lunch, you're not eating your breakfast, and then you are now officially working late at night. Some of my clients will say, oh, I'm working at 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning because that's the only way I'm able to get things done. And I'm like, huh? What do you mean? But I'm so tired. I'm so exhausted and I hate my practice. I bet you do, because when you want sleep, it's important for you to get sleep. It's important for you to be able to get rest. And so if you value rest, if that's one of your alignments, then that's important. So going back to the story, I wasn't honoring my boundaries. I was not taking advantage of all the amazing strengths that my team had. And so once I started to dive into that, once I started to definitely train them up, get them ready to take all of the things that I needed them to take off of my plate, I was able to go back into alignment. I was able to make sure I was setting myself up for success, spending time with my family, being in integrity, making sure I was able to live the lifestyle that I wanted to live. There's a really great picture. I actually show it during a workshop that I host every month called $1 Million Practice. So if you want to go ahead and check that out, you can definitely check that out. But it has a picture of me in Jamaica. I'm ziplining and I'm just free as a bird. And it's just arms up. And it was me after 2 years of not taking a vacation. 2 years after not taking a vacation. And I remember there was a vacation that I had taken prior where I had called and checked in my team. And my team was just like, why are you calling? Stop calling. Leave me alone, And so when I took that vacation, I did not have my computer, I did not have my phone, I did not have my laptop. It was a completely just hands-off vacation. And it felt so good. Why? Because I was in alignment, right? And so there's a story more recently where my business right now is actually going through a little bit of a transition. So I lost one of my core team members earlier this year, right after Q1. And it was so challenging because I had to figure out, okay, how am I going to replace this position? What is it going to look like? The business has evolved. So just like with your practice can evolve. Your practice is going to change. The team member that maybe you need today might look different for the team member that you need tomorrow. And so that's really the season of growth that I'm in. So as I'm recording this, as I'm talking to you, I'm speaking from real life going through this. And so during Q2, I was out of alignment with my business, completely out of alignment. So for me, I'm saying, don't work early mornings, late nights, and weekends. What was your girl doing? Working early mornings, late nights, and weekends. Like I've been on this where even some of my clients, they'll see emails come to me and they're like, wait a minute, what are you doing working? Where's your boundary? And it's because I don't have my core team member. So I'm in process of revamping my team. But the amazing thing that I can say, even speaking as I'm going through this, is I recognize that I'm out of alignment. I recognize that the business that I'm building isn't serving me the way that I want it to serve me, in addition to how I'm serving my clients. And so, as you're building your practice, I think it's a good conversation to have that there's seasons of growth that we go through, there's seasons of changes that we go through, but you have to recognize the alignment piece. And so, one of the things that I am doing right now to help me fall back in love with my business is I'm looking at, why am I working early mornings, late nights, and weekends? Why am I sending emails at 8 o'clock at night? Why am I wanting to wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning and jump straight into straight to my desk? Like, what does that look like? And so there's key positions that I'm currently adding. There are interviews that are happening. One of the biggest things right now is for an operations type person. So it's very powerful when you start to think about the seasons of growth. And so that's some of the things that I'm going through right now. So usually what happens is when folks are like working, the late night oil, the 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning or 5 a.m. or the early mornings, late nights and weekends, the number one thing that happens is they start to hate their team. All of a sudden, the practice that I was building that maybe I loved 3 weeks ago or a year ago, I hate it. And so these are where statements come up of, I just want to burn it down. I want to fire everybody. I want to sell, my $1 million practice for $1, just to really coin one of my clients verbatim. And it's important for you to recognize that if that's what you want to do, when clients start mentioning this, I always give them permission. Like, okay, well, let's burn it down. Let's start from scratch. Let's just, let's start over. And so once they start to step into that, they're like, well, I don't really want to burn it down. I mean, there's some things that are not working, but for more or less, I can. I have a whole gang of people who are counting on me and everything else. And so I think it's almost freeing for them, where I'm giving them permission to do exactly with what they're saying. But we also step back into, where is it coming from? Why is this happening? And so one of my number one keys of advice, anytime that you're feeling out of alignment or anytime that you feel like the business isn't serving you, actually is to take time off and to do the opposite. So instead of working the early mornings, the late nights, and the weekends, take time off. And I've had to check myself too. So from coming from a place of, I'm feeling like I need to work all these hours, I'm actually doing the opposite. I'm working less hours. I'm not working the weekends. I'm not working some of the late nights. The second that one of my clients actually called me out on it, I was like, oh, I'm not going to do this anymore. I'm out of alignment. And so at the end of the day, take the time off. Since then, I've been able to, we've had our retreat in New York, which was amazing. We have now taken a family vacation to London, which was amazing. And so it's just I'm in a place where I'm recognizing the business can still continue to do what it needs to do. For you, the practice will continue to do what it needs to do. The practice will always be moving, but it doesn't necessarily mean that you have to drive yourself in the ground in order to keep it going. And you don't have to put yourself in a place of resenting the practice, right? So we're building something that we have full control over, and because of how we can perceive it. If we perceive it as serving us, if we're perceiving it from a place of, this is an asset, this is something I'm grateful for, this is something that is definitely providing for my family, this is something that's making a difference in the community, that feels so much better compared to, this is a practice that's killing me, this is a practice that is forcing me to work 50 million hours a week. Do exactly what you want to be or what you need to be when it comes to being in alignment with your values. And so again, take time off. Take time off. That's the number one thing, is just to take the time off, so that way you can actually put yourself in a place to be grateful and a place to think. Once you've taken some time off, once you take a break, once you're in a place of, okay, I can actually think through this, then I always recommend for you to sit down and think about where do you want to be, whether if it's in the next 90 days or maybe in the next 6 months or even this time next year. Like, what does that look like for you? What is that what is that vision that you have? So to sit there, close your eyes, light a candle if you need to, bring in your favorite beverage and get the clarity for what are you building, right? So your job as a CEO truly is the visionary. And sometimes that can get lost, especially as you're continuing to scale and grow the practice. But if you are sitting down and actually thinking about what do I want? Where's the business going? What does that look like for me? How do I fit into it? That's actually a really powerful thing. But you have to do it from a place of being calm, a place of being grounded, compared to being in a place of, I just want to take a nap. I just need to eat a meal. I'm exhausted, I'm tired. And so a lot of times when you are trying to get to a place of what to do next, then you have to give yourself the space and time to do it. But asking yourself the question, what is the vision that I have for myself? And what is the vision that I have for the company is one of the best things that you can do, because once you answer that question, that's going to allow for you to know the direction that you need to head. What do I need to set like the GPS on in order to get to where we need to go, both as a practice and also for me personally too. Oftentimes inside of even private practice CEO with our group, there will be folks like clients will say, I'm tired. I like today is the day I'm going to burn it down. I give up. I throw in the towel. I'm finished. It's just no, it's just not working. And what happens is it's a venting place. It's a safe space where you can come, you can express yourself. And it's so freeing because oftentimes, like our clients, and not even oftentimes, most times, all the time, like our clients will definitely be like, girl, I feel you. I hear you, and yes, it's hard. It is hard to build something out of nothing. It's hard to grow something that is taking on a life of its own and for you not to feel some kind of way. And so with Private Practice CEO, it's the community that is so amazing, that is so loving, that is just so supportive to give you really the validation that you need, because how you're feeling is perfectly normal. You're going to have those days where you just want to throw in the towel, you want to burn it down. And again, just being able to get it off of your chest, to be able to say like, oh, you feel that way too some days? Like, oh, okay. Today's just a day for me and tomorrow will feel better. And sometimes it's just like, girl, go take a nap, and it's fine. So if you're interested in having a community to make sure that you are set up for success, to make sure that you have some really great people around you to keep you on track, then Private Practice CEO is probably the place for you. So if you're interested in that, if you know that you need help, if you know that you're tired of feeling alone, then definitely go ahead and apply using the link in the show notes. Thank you so much for listening to this topic, and I will see you guys next week. Bye.
Thanks for listening today. I hope you enjoyed the episode and it empowers you as the CEO of your practice. If you enjoyed the podcast, please make sure you subscribe, share the message, and leave a review. If you want more information and support in growing and scaling your practice, click the link in the show notes to take advantage of our free resources or apply to work with me directly. Thanks again, and I'll see you next time.